So we have to solve triangle ABC if big C, angle C is 87 degrees, little b is 7, and little c is 9. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a triangle ABC, and it doesn't matter where the letters go, it does matter where the numbers go. Big C, capital C, is 87 degrees. Little b, that's the side opposite angle B, so that's going to be down there. That's going to be 7. And little c, the side opposite angle C, that's going to be 9. And in order to solve a triangle, you need to determine what all three angles are equal to and what all three sides are equal to. So by the end of the problem, we want to have all 6 pieces of information. And here they're telling us 3. They're telling us angle C is 87, little b is 7, and little c is 9, which means we need to solve for big A, angle B, and side A. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through our checklist to first figure out which of the 3 trig rules we're going to be using. We always first look to use SOHCAHTOA. How do you know if you're using SOHCAHTOA? If you're given a 90-degree angle. And here, they're only giving us one angle, it's angle C, and it's 87 degrees. So we're not going to be using SOHCAHTOA. Now we're going to look to see if we can use the law of sines. In order to use the law of sines, you need to be given one matching set of side angles and then one half matching set of side angles. And here it looks like we have that. We have angle and side C. So the C's are going to be our matching set. And then our half matching set, here we have side B, and the first thing we're going to do is go about finding angle B. The half matching set is what you're solving for. See, the challenge of these questions is to try to figure out which of the things, which of the missing parts you have enough information to solve for. And here the only piece that we have enough information to solve for is angle B. So we're going to go about using the law of sines to go about finding angle B. And big B is what I'm solving for. So I'm going to write the sine of angle B over little b, that half matching set. And now for my matching set, angle inside C. So I'm going to have the sine of angle C over little c. My advice when you do these questions is always put what you're solving for in that upper left-hand corner. Now we're going to substitute in. We're going to have the sine of angle B over side B, which we were told is 7. That equals the sine of angle C, the sine of 87 degrees, over little c, which is 9. And the way we go about solving using the law of sines is we cross multiply. So I'm going to have 9 times the sine of angle B. That equals 7 times the sine of 87. And I'm solving for angle B, which means now I'm going to divide both sides by 9. So here I'm going to have the sine of angle B equals 7 times the sine of 87 over 9. Now here I'm solving for angle B. I'm solving an angle. I'm finding an angle. So you have to remember, when you're finding an angle, you always first press the second button. So here we're doing the law of sine. So we're going to press second and then sine. And then at the end of the process, you always have to DMS your answer to get degrees, minutes, and seconds. So we're going to press second sine and then enter in the right-hand side of the equation. So on our calculator, second sign, and then that right-hand side of the equation. Here we're going to have 50 degrees and 58 minutes. Remember, in order to round to the nearest minute, you're going to look at the seconds, and if it's 30 or more, and it is, here it's 37, if it's 30 or more, you're rounding up. So here we found angle B to be 50 degrees, 58 minutes. So now that we found angle B, the only parts of the triangle that we haven't solved for are angle A and angle A and side B. And usually when you're solving these triangles and you get up to a certain point, you do have different options that you can use to solve for the missing parts. Now I'm going to fill in on the triangle. Angle B is 50 degrees and 58 minutes because when you're solving triangles, now we have two of the three angles. Anytime you have two of the three angles, what you want to get in the habit of doing is remembering that the sum of the angles of a triangle is always 180 degrees. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to add up angles A and B and then subtract that from 180 degrees. So on your calculator, add up 87 degrees plus 50 degrees and 58 minutes, and then do 180 minus that answer. So here when I do that, I have 42.033333, but remember this is an angle, so what I now want to do is go to DMS on the calculator. And when I do that, it looks like angle A turns out to be 42 degrees and 2 minutes. So now I have all three of the angles. And remember, I'm trying to solve the triangle. The goal is to end up with all three sides and all three angles. And the only part of the triangle that I have left to solve for is side A, the side opposite angle A. And by this part of the process, you have all this information. So you're going to have many different ways you can go about trying to find side A. One of the things I can do is I can continue to use the law of sines, because I started off the problem with the matching set of side angles of the C's. And now my half matching set, what you're trying to solve for, remember that's side A, well, we found angle A. So we can use the law of sines to go about finding side A. We could also go about finding side A by using the law of cosines. Because remember, when you use the law of cosines, if you have two sides and the angle between, if you have two sides and the angle between, here you have side C, you have side B, and the angle in between is angle A. You have this 9 and this 7 and the angle in between of 42 degrees and 2 minutes. So I could go about solving for side A using the law of cosines. I tend to prefer to use the law of cosines because once you plug the numbers into the rule, you just do all the math on your calculator. But I'm going to show you in this video, and what I want you to have in your notes on this document are both of the solving techniques. So I'm going to do the law of cosines first. I'm going to have side A, and remember law of cosine says A squared equals, that's going to be B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times the cosine of A. Remember, when you use the law of cosines, the outsides need to match. So here I'm going to have A squared equals B squared, so that's 7 squared, plus C squared, that's 9 squared, minus 2 times B times C, 2 times 7 times 9, times the cosine of angle A, and here the angle A we found was 42 degrees and 2 minutes. Even though the law of cosines looks intimidating, it actually is easier to solve because now all you're going to do is plug in this whole side into your calculator, type in that whole expression, and then take the square root of it to get A. So here I'm going to have A squared equals 36.4, give or take. Remember, that's what A squared is. So now what you're going to do is take the square root of that on your calculator to get side A. So side A to the nearest tenth, this 3 is going to keep the 0 the way it is. So side A is going to be 6.0. And that's what you found if you went about solving for side A using the law of cosines, which I think is a lot of times easier. I'm going to go about finding side A by the law of sines as well, and I want you to have this on this assignment. Here I'm finding side A, so I'm going to have little a over the sine of angle A. That equals now my matching set. That was little c over the sine of big C. And now you're going to plug in side A over the sine of angle A, the sine of 42 degrees and 2 minutes. That equals side C, which is 9, over the sine of angle C, which is the sine of 87. And the reason why I prefer to use the law of cosines is because now I'm solving by using the law of sines. I had to plug in the different values. And now you have to go about solving by cross multiplying. I'm going to have A times the sine of 87. That equals 9 times the sine of 42 degrees, 2 minutes. And to solve for side A, I'm going to divide both sides by the sine of 87. So if you went about finding side A using the law of sines, now you're going to enter in this expression into your calculator. We're finding a side, so you just basically type in exactly what you see and make sure you use the fraction template. So type this into your calculator and then include the photo of this on the assignment as well. And the answer that you get shouldn't be a surprise, as you're also going to get 6.0. And when you do these solving the triangle problems, there's a lot of work included with the process because you're really finding 3 different things. But one way you can check to see if you did this right is look at your answers. I'm going to zoom in on the answers. Here's what they are. You had to find all the sides and all the angles. And one of the rules going back to geometry you were taught was the largest angle is always opposite the longest side. Well, which is the largest angle? 42, 50, or 87? 87 is the largest angle. Well, look at the lengths of the sides, 6, 7, and 9. The longest side is 9. So the biggest angle is opposite the longest side, and vice versa. The smallest angle, 42, that's the smallest angle, that should be opposite the shortest side, which in this case is 6.0. So that's how you can check to see if you solve the triangle correctly, making sure the biggest angle is opposite the longest side and the smallest angle is opposite the shortest side.